It's the crew. This is so cool. Okay, cool. Then I'll set up your yoga mat.
Do you want the other GuruPad to show them?
Sure. Okay, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So I'm going to call these yoga sessions the Sober Yoga Soldier yoga sessions. And real quick, I just want to introduce everybody who knows me, I believe. My name is Bass. And I recently have been working my tail off on this project, creating something that I think will really help the recovery community. And it's an alignment mat that uses colors and numbers to show people where to put their hands, knees, and feet in all of the hundreds of yoga poses that are essential to yoga. And the coolest part is that it's actually built specific to the height of the user. So like my mat right here is for 6'6" to 6'2". This mat is like 5'10" to 5'6", and we have all height ranges essentially. But we call it the GuruPad, and it's the flagship product of my company called COLO. So we're pretty stoked to be having the rights to those names. And I will be teaching on these mats, and if anyone is interested, I can hook you up with a discount code. And at some point, I might even start teaching the classes with the cues of like step your left foot to blue 1 and your right foot to green 2, bend your left knee, inhale. But all of the cues will be accessible whether or not you have the mat. So anyways, that's been my little passion project lately. And it's all been centered around how yoga shaped my recovery and really put me on a trajectory that stands to this day in service of giving back what I've gleaned from yoga. So cool. I'm gonna want to sit, but I don't know how the cameras are gonna work. So.
I think you're good, Bass. We can see the mat. We can see you.
Okay, you can see me if I sit down?
Yeah.
Great. Whoa, look at that spot of hair. Okay. So go ahead and find yourself a nice comfortable position here. Cross-legged or kneeling with support underneath you. Feel free to pull a mat up and just practice right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check on your stuff.
Okay, cool. And then together we'll quiet our eyes or find a focal point in which to gaze. And then just go to the breath, uninfluenced, simply as an anchor. And find your breath in your belly. As you inhale, feel a ball of breath expanding in an omnidirectional fashion. Forward, back, side to side, up, and especially down. Beginning to relax all the way through the tailbone and into the hips. Now encouraging the breath in through the nose, out through the nose, with perhaps a soft whisper as you constrict your throat. Just creating that scraping breath we call ujjayi. And tuning into the vibration of that subtle oceanic breath. Sense and see the breath like a wave. Feel the wave wash down into the basin of your belly. And the exhale, rinsing the hallways of your throat and mouth. Now we're going to use a very settling breath here for 5 rounds. It's a double inhale and an open mouth exhale. And I encourage you to sigh. I encourage you to create more vibration, stimulating the vagal nerve and the phrenic nerve, which is directly connected to your diaphragm and your brain. So breathing will influence this directly. So we inhale twice, just open mouth, exhale. 5 times through on your own. This breath can be done anywhere, anytime. And be aware if you're breathing with your shoulders or your neck, try to breathe with your abdomen. Maybe one more for good measure. Beautifully done. We're going to start moving gently here, taking our left arm and bringing it over to our right knee, setting your right hand just behind you, and creating a gentle twist over your right shoulder. Now I might turn back towards the camera just to make sure you all can hear me for certain poses. I might pull out of a pose just to be able to direct my volume towards the camera. And really breathe into your neck and your eyeballs even as you gaze all the way to the left, moving your eyes as well. So I follow a Dr. Huberman, who is part of a neuroscience collective that I fondly support. And we must recognize that our eyes are actually part of our brain. Release the left hand from the right knee and move to the other side, taking the right hand to the left knee, placing your left hand behind you and gazing over your left shoulder. Fully gazing over your left shoulder, and again, allow your eyes to move all the way to the left, looking behind you and feeling that stretch there, and bathe your eye globes in breath. So he speaks to how the eyes are actually part of the brain. And in early development, one of the first things that happens with the development of our brain and eyes is that we push our eyes forward. So much like a dog has protruded their snout, and they are very olfactory forward in their sensing of the world. So they're always using their nose. We as humans are always using our eyes to see objects coming, threats coming, and assess the world around us. So what's interesting is moving the eyes is also a mudra. Exhale, release both hands back to neutral. Place your right hand down to your right side, and then lift your left arm up and overhead. Create space in your left side body, letting the breath do the rest. You can gaze up or you can gaze down, whatever feels best on your neck. I'm going to gaze down at my right hand. And I'm going to again move my eyes to the right, looking over my right shoulder. And inhale, both arms up and overhead, kind of rainbowing to the other side. So a mudra is simply an energy seal. It's a way to clear the channels in our body. Now I'm going to look down as well. I encourage you to do the same. As you push down into the left hand, open up the right side ribs. Big breath in here. Again, allow the eyes to float in a direction that we don't often use them, towards the peripherals of your vision. And then inhale, both arms back up and overhead. Cactus your elbows, lift your heart, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Big breath through this broad, courageous heart. And then exhale, close both elbows and forearms and hands together, round through the spine. Feel like you're pushing your heart center and your navel to the rear of the room and pushing your elbows and forearms forward, breath into the back body. Tucking the chin ever so slightly, creating length in the back of the neck. 3 breaths here. So the entire nervous system, if taken out of the body, would look like the body, all the way into the toes, into the ears, the nose. If you just took the nervous system out, it'd be all these channels, and release the arms back behind you. Slide both hands, wrap your shoulder blades back. And then look up. If you've ever been to the Body World exhibit, you see this, that wow, the body has so many intricacies, so many channels, and it's all contiguous. It's all connected fluidly as one. And then exhale, release. We'll roll forward onto our knees, placing our hands into a tabletop position. And tucking the toes here. If you would like to walk your knees about 3 inches back, we're going to find a little fluid movement here. So we'll move through what we know as cow pose, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze, pulling the heart forward. And then as we exhale and round the spine, tucking the tailbone and the chin, through cat, sit the hips back towards child's pose with the toes tucked. And then inhale, press up into down dog. And exhale, find a sinking motion as you push your heels down and back and your heart towards your thighs. And if at any point you can't really hear me, just let me know. And exhale, lower down to the knees. Inhale, pull up your heart, looking forward and high. Exhale, round through cat, and then send your hips back. All in one smooth motion. Lift the hips. It's a great way to get into down dog. Big inhale as you do, and then exhale, settle the heels, push the heart back. Inhale forward, and exhale down to your knees. Inhale, cow. Exhale, round through the spine, sit the hips back. Long exhales, making that a 2-part motion. Inhale up into down dog, and exhale, find that sweet release. Inhale forward and down. Exhaling as you touch your knees. Inhale, looking up, pulling your heart forward, your wrists back. And then exhale, round through the spine. Last one, sitting the hips back and down, pushing through the hands, lifting the knees and the hips. And then forward into plank here, maybe moving the hands slightly forward. Shoulders over wrists, heels over toes, taking a moment to build the heat in the core. And so the beautiful thing is that a mudra, being an energy seal, is that we can move our bodies in a certain way and affect the energy moving through our channels. Now, in our journey with addiction and even in early recovery, our nadis, these channels, these in our body are so out of whack. Continue to breathe and feel the fire build, getting the heat going. We're going to use that heat, that energy. This is what we refer to as prana in the yogic tradition as well as the Buddhist tradition. And prana is good. Prana is meant to be built and used throughout the day and then recharged through our practices, our sleep, our self-care and self-love practices. Exhale, lower to the knees. Slide the left hand back and the right hand back underneath your shoulders. We're going to move into bird dog here. Extending the right arm forward and the left arm back, or left foot back, left leg back. Hug everything towards center line. So even your right shoulder hugs in towards the spine. Your left wrist pulls towards your navel, right knee pulls towards your navel, and your left glute squeezes in towards center line. Exhale, curl up and under, right elbow to left knee. Inhale, re-extend, secure everything to the spine. Exhale, curl under. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, curl under. Inhale, re-extend. And exhale, curl under. Inhale, re-extend. Lower the right hand, the left knee, and switch to the other side. We'll do wrists in a second. Really space out your fingers and grip like a gorilla, using the pads of your fingers to help support the wrist. Again, securing left shoulder blade, right glute. Exhale, curl up and under. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, curl up and under. Inhale, re-extend. 2 more times through. Using that navel to activate the core, pulling it up as you curl up and under. And inhale, re-extend. Go 1 more. I think that's an extra. Inhale, re-extend. Lower back down here, placing both knees down. Taking the right hand and rolling fingernails to knuckles to wrist. Planting as much of the surface area on the back of your hand down onto the mat as possible. Shifting your hips back as you begin to feel a stretch into the forearm. Being gentle with the wrists here. A little rocking motion is how I prefer it. We'll switch that to the other side, placing the fingers towards the knee and then pushing finger pads from tips to knuckles to palm down on the ground. And now you can feel the same effect on the front of your forearm. If you've done any rock climbing recently, which with all the gyms closed, it's kind of a struggle and being cold out, but still notice a lot when you've been working with your hands. And switch to the other side. Fingernails to knuckles to wrists. And just tune into sensation. The flow of energy happening within your body. Something we often neglect unless it's painful or a point of discomfort or a supreme sense of pleasure. And switching again, fingers towards the knees, like so, pushing down towards the wrist. And again, shifting the hips back slightly, pushing down through the palm. One more breath in, just letting a river of breath run down the banks of your forearm. And then releasing from there. Bring your knees wider to the outer edges of your mat, toes together. We're going to sit back into child's pose and collect before we build ourselves again. The importance of understanding mudras and how we can influence energy in the body is that we were essentially attempting to do this throughout our course, the course of our addictions. And we still continue to do this, whether you're an addict or an alcoholic or not. Constantly trying to manipulate and control our experience. And yoga just provides a beautiful platform in which to surrender and take the seat of the witness, beginning to watch it all unfold. Unbiased, uninfluenced. And then learning tools to use, like breath work and mudras and meditation, to begin to influence our nervous systems and the associated nadis or energy channels in the body. When you're ready, come back up out of child's pose. And we'll move back into down dog, lifting the hips, pressing one heel down at a time, bending the other opposite knee, opposite legged knee. Really encouraging our heart towards our thighs without too much exaggeration. If you're a flexi bendy, that can actually be overdone, making sure you're strong in the shoulders. Inhale. Next inhale, pick up the right leg. Push it to the rear of the room, 3-point down dog. Turn the toes down towards the earth, squaring the hips. And now open that up. Turn the toes out and away, stacking the hips. Right leg over left thigh or left hip. And now exhale, bring the right knee to your nose, hug it in, warm up the core. Inhale, send it back. Toes pointing down. Exhale, curl it in. Shift forward. Inhale, send it back. We're going from 3-point down dog to cheetah. One last time. Tucking the knee, activating the core. Inhale, send it back. And then exhale, right knee to nose so you can step through, right heel forward to your right thumb. Now we're in a low lunge here. Lower the back, left knee, and pull the right heel towards the left knee, shoulders back and down, long rear of the neck. Inhale, lift your torso up and your arms, bringing your biceps by your ears. If you want to encourage a little more of a back bend, you can do so from the back of the heart, from the middle of the spine, not just dumping into the low spine, keeping an activated core. And then exhale, left arm forward, right arm back. We're going to twist away to the outside of our bodies. Make sure you can hear me, so twisting in a vertical twist manner. Big breath here. And then exhale, lower that right arm, bring everything back to heart center, palms at heart center in prayer position. And we're going to twist again, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Letting these twists kind of wring out the organs. Move the spine and the spinal fluid. Gaze can flow towards the ceiling. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, release. Both arms back up. And exhale, hands down. If you have blocks, great place to bring them in. If you don't, no worries. Just don't go as deep. Shifting the weight back. You can untuck the back toes if you like. Pull the right toes towards your nose. Send your tailbone back behind you. Encourage the curve in your low back. As you reach your heart forward, you may notice sensation already. May not need to just collapse down onto the leg to feel what you need to feel. And then draw your toes, especially the pinky, towards your nose. Bend back into your right knee, plant the right foot down. Plant both hands down. Pick up your back left knee. Seal your back left heel. We're going to come into a standing warrior 2. Back left heel pivots to a 90-degree angle compared to your right heel, right foot. And then your arms fly in each direction. Reverse your warrior, taking your left hand to your back left leg and lift your heart. How much time left? Inhale back to warrior 2. Let's do that 2 more times. Let's float it back, big breath into the right side ribs. Not collapsing into the left side ribs, but inhale forward to warrior 2. Never overcompensating, right? Being aware of both sides of the scale. Back to warrior 2. And then cartwheel your hands down. Frame your front foot, pick up your back left heel, and step your left foot forward to meet your right. Forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift, hands to shins, flat back, tailbone pushes behind you, heart reaches forward. Exhale, round through your spine, fold it in. Little bend in the knees is really helpful. This helps you shift the weight to the balls of your feet. And then once that's occurred, you can push down through your heels and begin to feel the back of your hamstrings really open up. And just hanging out for a moment, noticing the new sensation. A little more constricted in the breathing in these folds, but you can always direct the breath into your back, the rear of your lungs. Inhale, half lift, hands to shins. Breath opens up. Exhale, fold it in. And 3 breaths into your back body. And on that last breath, kind of sigh it out. Make sure you're not carrying any extra tension or creating it in your practice. We're going to stand up in a big sweeping motion. Inhale, arms go out wide, reverse swan dive. Bring them up and then interlace your fingers and shine your palms towards the ceiling. Feel that opening all the way into your armpits. There's a lot of lymphatic connections, which is where your immune system is. And so opening up the armpits to let it become fluid again. Now shifting the weight to the left foot, create a little side bend. As you squeeze both legs together to support the side bend, push through your left palm and pull a little bit with your right fingers on the left hand. Inhale back up to neutral, switch to the other side. Shift weight to the right foot, push through your right palm and pull your left fingers. Take a moment to find the pause where your mind becomes still. Inhale back up and release the hands. Just letting them be heavy at your sides. If you do Tai Chi or Qigong, you can take Wu Ji, empty state. But most importantly, find the emptiness within your mind as you free the body of all obligations, all demands. To do this, do that. Look like this, look like her, look like him. Empty. All in a breath. Constantly retuning to your experience. prana, chi, energy flowing, alive through your body. Next inhale, both arms back up. And then exhale, hands through heart center, fold forward, down and in, pushing your hips back, keeping the weight in the balls of the feet. Shift your weight to your left foot. Step your right foot back, low lunge. Lower the right knee, and then shoulders down the back, left heel towards right knee, everything squeezing towards center line. As you inhale, come up with your torso and your arms. Spread the fingers and create a little back bend just with the shoulder blades hugging to lift the back of the heart on high. And then exhale, vertical spine, drop the left arm back, reach the right arm forward, twist to the outside of your left body. Little extra using the shoulder blades, hugging the left shoulder blade in, pushing out through the right shoulder blade. Has a connection to our vertebrae that are built to twist. And then release from there, both hands back to neutral, prayer position, upright spine. Again, think about the length in your spine before every twist. So inhale, find the space in each vertebrae. Exhale, hinge forward, and then begin to twist. The right elbow to the top of the knee or the outside. And using this leverage point of elbow and knee to get longer first, and then to exhale and twist as your gaze flows over your top shoulder. Full breath in. Feeling it hit new spaces, new places. One more time, feel that. And then exhale, release both hands down here. Shifting the weight back, blocks, a great opportunity. You can use anything for blocks. There was a while when I just used weights, little dumbbells. Slide the hands back, TP the fingers, or stay up with hands on hips. And then draw the toes towards your nose. You'll begin to feel this immediately as your tailbone sinks back, reaching the heart forward. And this could be as high as you go. You could work on maybe coming down lower, but again, follow sensation like a street light, like green and yellow and red. Yellow essentially means you're about to go to red. Red is pain that could cause injury. And so you tune into you and follow the street lights through green, playing with yellow, nothing more than that. Then back into the left knee, plant the left foot down. And then pick up the back right knee, seal the back right heel to warrior two. And inhale, rise up, pushing strong through the left leg, opening the left knee towards the center toes. And then reverse the warrior. We're going to do this 3 times. Right hand can come all the way back to seal on your left hip or just here. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Breath opens the left side body. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And now big sweeping all the way down and around. Both hands touch to frame the front foot. Back heel pivots up onto the toes, above the toes, and step the left foot back to meet the right high plank. Shoulders over wrist, space between the fingers. Draw the navel in, and if your hips are sagging, it's actually better to have your hips higher than to have them lower. It's better for your low back. Still get all the strengthening and the benefits. Three more breaths in. Enjoying the experience despite its difficulty. Feeling strength in the marrow of your bones. And then exhale, lower to your knees. Bring your knees out wide, child's pose once again. Toes together, arms long. You know what's interesting is that neuroscientist has proven that we can neurochemically enjoy the journey. That we can actually, dopamine can be released as you celebrate yourself for facing adversity, for choosing the obstacle as the way, instead of taking the easy path of maybe a Netflix binge, or maybe it's a smoke of a cigarette, but instead embracing the practice of self-love, the thing that daunts you or is difficult to you. Moving forward into that can release dopamine, which suppresses cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline. So we can truly, I love it, enjoy the process, take pleasure in the process, and choose courage over comfort, which I believe Corey introduced me to that phrase. Shout out. Coming back up out of your child's pose with an invigorating inhale. Coming into tabletop position. We'll go right back into down dog. Inhale, lift the hips. Press the heels back, down dog. Hips and heels back and down. Now bring a little bit of a challenging twist in here. If you can work on the balance here, you can always bend your left knee and take your right hand to the left thigh or the right shin or all the way to the ankle or heel. And now you're pushing strongly into your left hand and looking underneath your left shoulder. And letting the breath do the rest as you open up the back of the body with this twist. And switch. Right hand plants down. Left hand picks up. Again, you can bend your right knee for balance and then just move just as gentle as that. Taking your left hand to thigh, left hand to shin, or to heel. I'm going to do shin on this side. Big breath, filling up that back body. Slowing down this final exhale, just for a count longer. And then releasing both hands back. Now we're going to pick up both heels, still staying in down dog. We're going to knock the heels off to the right and walk the left hand a slight bit forward or TP it up onto the fingertips. And then you're pushing out through the left heel and out through the left wrist. You may feel a bit of a stretch there in the lats, latissimus dorsi, the back muscles that connect your armpit to your rib cage, shoulders to ribs. And again, the breath can always bring more depth to each stretch. Inhale, heels up. And to the other side. Picking up the right wrist. Knocking the heels over to the other side. Still pushing the hips back, still seeing the down dog effect. That's where this really counts. So pushing strong through both hands, lifting the hips. And last breath to release. Exhale, over to the knees. We're going to come back into a seated position. Move into Navasana, boat pose. If you have a block.
You're kind of breaking up in this pose.
In this pose?
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Cool. Let me see.
Like,
Try that.
just
Yeah, I'm hearing it on your end as well. All right, I'll make sure that you might just have to watch me. Just look at me. Oh, better. Good, good. Thank you, Mimi. Okay, so we're taking boat pose. If you have a block or have anything, a blanket, a ball, you can put it in between your thighs. And just squeeze that. If you don't have it, think about engaging the inner edges of your legs. You can take a shoe. I'm just looking over there. I'm like, oh, that shoe would work. And you're just engaging the inner edge of your legs. We're going to start hands behind the thighs, lifting the heart, dropping the shoulders out of the equation, and then releasing one hand at a time, squeezing that block. And just kind of like enjoy this. There's a moment where your body begins to talk to new muscles. And you're like, oh, wait, I haven't talked to you in a while. What's going on down here? How you been? And then you're like, okay, I got this. I see you. We have that mind-muscle connections. Maybe we extend both legs for another level up, or maybe, no, not yet. Still talking. Still enjoying this conversation with my groin muscles. And taking a moment to just enjoy this process. Big breath here. Settling down the breath as it becomes fragmented. Release the block, cross the legs, sit the hips forward, and take a moment to pause with that. Using the breath to calm the heart. Get longer exhales, smooth, concise inhales. And just gently increasing the exhale, that's all. Not too forceful. Release from here, legs long. I like to sit up on a blanket personally, tight hips. Had a low back injury last year, slip disc type of thing. So I like to sit up and get a little advantage of my hips above my knees. Going into Paschimottanasana, forward, fold over the legs. Inhale, arms up for Dandasana, staff pose. And find that nice curve in your low back. And then exhale, keep that curve is about 45 degrees down. And then round through the back. Release the hands, shins, thighs, maybe toes. No matter where you are, take a breath. And on the next one, inhale, lift the heart a little bit, flatten the back out, reaching the crown forward and high. Breath in there. And then exhale, folding back and down. Not thinking about the destiny, the goal, just enjoying what's happening. Observing what's happening. Inhale, pulling heart forward, looking forward. Exhale, folding forward. Last one, inhale. Lifting, lengthening. Exhale. Fold. The micro bend in the knees is okay. It's a good thing to have. It's a subtle bend. Just a tip for anybody who might be struggling with their forward folds, as I have. Bending the knees and flexing the toes is the best way to start. Then you just go as far as you can there, keeping the flat back. And over time, you push one heel forward at a time. Not worrying about whether you are folded in half like laundry, but just that you're honoring your body. And when you're ready, entering and exiting every pose with love, come on out of that. Take the left, I'm going to go back to mirroring for you all. So I'm going to say my right leg over my left leg. So I should look like a mirror to you. And I'm just placing it just around my thigh where it meets the knee, and then lifting my heart here. Another level up would to be bend the left leg and hug it under. Sometimes that makes it easier for me to get into this upright spine position, but I like to do it long as well. Now both hands come to the front of my right knee, shoulders drop back and down out of the equation. And then pulling my heart towards my thigh, I'm going to begin to twist, maybe even wrapping my left arm around my right leg. Breath in, and this is supposed to be a cool down, so don't feel like you're trying to accomplish something or force something here. We're going to move the breath into a 4 count in and a 5 count out. Gaze can go over the right shoulder, eyes can also move to the right. If you have the ability, extend the exhale another count to 6 or 7. And release from there. Releasing the torso and then the right leg out long so that it lays on the connection point of your left sole to the inner edge of your right leg. Find the upright spine once again. We're going to slide the right hand along the inside of the right leg. I like to hook my thumb somewhere around my Achilles heel or underneath my low calf. And then from here, we're going to twist the navel towards the sky. Inhale the left arm up towards the ceiling. Reach through the spread fingers. And then create a side bend with a little twist for Janusarstasana. It's thought in the yogic tradition that stretching the side bodies and breathing into the side bodies is really good for calming Vata energy, which is very movement oriented. It's very productive energy. But sometimes at night or on the weekends, we don't necessarily need to be getting things done. Inhale all the way back up, both arms up. Left hand plants just behind you. This is a fun one. Lifting onto your left shin. Lift your hips, push down through your left shin. And send your right arm to the rear of the room, opening up that side body. For 2 breaths. And sitting the hips back down. To the other side. Let's maybe extend the right leg forward again. Some of y'all might have chose that variation. Left leg up and over, just above the knee. finding a place where you can plant the whole foot down onto the ground. And then again, if you like to bend the right leg, go ahead and do so. And then just find that upright posture. Again, sitting on a blanket, very helpful here. And then if this is good for you, twist. Right arm to the front of the left knee. Navel-driven twists. Gaze over the left shoulder. Extending the exhales for the next 3 breaths. Counting in for 4. And out for 5 to 7 or 8. And releasing the torso back to neutral. Kicking the left leg out to seal the inside of the left leg to the right sole. Upright spine once again. Take the left arm and slide it down along the inside of your left leg. Inhale, right arm up and over. And then twist just from the navel, from the heart, twist ever so slightly to the sky. You're feeling this in the waist area, that low back, where most of us have, or many of us experience sciatica pain. Find the extended exhale once again. Computer turned off there. And then inhale back up and over, fanning that right arm back down behind you, lifting the hips, pushing down through the top of that shin, and sending your left arm overhead to open up. This side body breath is bold and big. Sitting hips back down. Gonna bring everything back in here to a cross-legged seated position for our closing meditation. We'll do 1 minute of breath work here. Everyone, I think, is familiar with Nadi Shodhana. We spoke about the nadis. So there's known as a Ida and Pingala, right and left, male and female, and sun and moon. All of this counterbalanced energy. And this breath is known to actually speak to both hemispheres of the brain and find balance in those, which is very important for accessing your best intuition, your best problem solving, creative solutions, and balance that with the rational, the logic. So we're going to take I like to use my ring finger here and my thumb, placing my thumb on my right nostril. If you're left-handed, that would be left thumb on left nostril. So thumb on nostril, inhaling through the left, pausing at the top to close off the left, open the right, releasing the thumb, exhale through the right. Inhale again through the right. Pause at the top, close the right, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close off the left, open right, exhale right. Continue this for 7 more times, letting this right side be 1, and the exhale through the left be counted also as 1. Inhale left, count as 2. Exhaling right also as 2. All the way to 7. You need to finish this last round. And release your hand from there. Again, with quiet eyes or a fixed gaze. You can take a mudra of your choice. I'm going to teach Gupta Mudra, which is a core quality protection from our limiting beliefs. It's essentially interlacing the fingers and taking the right thumb over the left, creating a little space in between the palms. Gupta Mudra, about protection from our limiting beliefs and going into 2021 as strong as your resolution may be. This last year shook us all. It's important to remember that it's okay to protect that which we hold dear. I myself know very, very few, if anybody, that is immune to threats or dangers in this world. I like to think of a glowing orb or a almond-sized flame inside of my hands. And each breath is feeding that flame or encouraging that orb to glow brighter. These are our hopes and our dreams, those we hold most dear. Elements like our sobriety, our sangha, our purpose. Continue to connect your breath to the sensations between your palms. And the beauty of this Zoom, this virtual platform, is that you in your own home may remain. You may stay in this and carry it into a meditation for the day. But our hour has elapsed. So I thank you all so much. And I say, light in me sees the light in you and loves, respects every ounce of your being. Thank you all for joining today. Namaste.